My name is Alan Brack, and welcome back to our theme, the wow factor, where we're learning how to create a memorable experience that leaves other people talking about us in an extremely positive way. Excellence, competence, character are three topics that are necessary in order for us to deliver this wow factor. We're in our third discussion on the topic of competence. We've looked at skill. We've looked at personality types, and in this discussion, I want us to look at our strengths. Marcus Buckingham has done a lot of study on strengths and how that when we play to our strengths, we have more potential. You know, one of the things that I've looked at is I'm more passionate, excited, have more energy when I play to my strengths. But I've also found that most of us don't know what our strengths are, because they're not the same as our personality, and they're not the same as our skills. There's some tie-in, there's some overlap. But if we really understand our strengths, that's going to help us, again, deliver this wow factor. I really like the concept of working on your strengths, not your weaknesses, because in the area of your strength, you have the most potential. I do need to make a disclaimer. I'm not talking about in the area of your choices. In the area of your attitude and your character, which both are areas of choices, I'm not talking about ignoring weaknesses there. Because if you're a person that has a bad attitude or weak character, you need to make some different choices and you need to shore that up. But I am talking about the area of your strengths. I think there's a direct connection between our strengths and our talents. Talents we have from birth. Talents are God-given. Our skills, they're developed. We can learn skills. That's where they're different. Talent and skills are not the same thing. And so when we're looking at strengths, look through the lens of talent. What's your natural leaning? The reason I think this is important is because we'll be able to stand out in the area of our strengths. We really will. Now, we don't learn this in school. As a matter of fact, in school, what we're programmed to learn and do is if we have a few A's and maybe a B, and then we drop down and maybe we have a D in a certain subject, what's the teacher tell us to do? What's our parents tell us to do? Work on that D, get that D up. Is that the best use of our time? Well, obviously, there are times in our lives where we have to work on stuff that we don't want to. But outside of school, in life in general, if we stay distracted at stuff that we're no good at, if we spend time, a lot of time, working on our D, it's likely, very likely, that our A will come down to a B because we're distracted. Realizing your strengths, identifying your strengths, knowing and understanding what they are will help us in certain areas that we're going to be really good at. There's certain things, because I know my strengths, that I'm no good at. It's a journey to find out what our strengths are, and I've really found out that most people are unaware. If we want to bring this wow factor, this memorable experience that leaves people talking about us in an extremely positive way, we need an understanding of what we're going to be great at. You have the potential, I have the potential to be great in the area of our strengths. We're not going to ever be great in an area of weakness. So don't spend so much time on what you're weak at. Spend time on what you're good at so that you can be great at it. Very competent. Move to that level of competency that delivers that wow factor. And this, I believe, will absolutely give us a competitive edge. Understand your strengths and the strengths of the people on your team. Understand them and know what skills that you're going to be better at. Here's what I know. When you understand really your talent and really your strength, there's certain skills that you're going to have a leaning to that you're going to be better at. And there's other ones that you won't. That'll help bring clarity around that. So if you've not taken a strengths test or found out what you're really passionate about and what your strengths really are, I want to encourage you to do that. Marcus Buckingham wrote a book called Standout, and I'd like to recommend it. It has a test in the back of it. You can put the code in, go online, and take the test. And it gives you an indicator of what your strengths are in the areas that you're really going to stand out in. Out of 9 categories, that test in Standout picks your top 2. What are the 2 things that you can do and really stand out? So that's one recommendation that I have on this topic and a subject of strengths and finding your strengths. It may help you. There may be others out there. I'm sure there's a lot of different things, but I just want to encourage you to find your strengths. And one way we can know if it's a strength, if it gives us that energy. What I found is when I'm in my strength zone, I have more energy. I'm more excited. My passion is realized and recognized and very evident. And that'll be the same probably for you. You'll get energized in your strength zone. So I want to encourage you. Find out what your strength is. Now remember, if it's in the area of choice, attitude, or character, work on your weakness. But in the area of our talents, stay with our strengths. That's going to give us the most advantage. That's going to be the area that we have the most potential to grow in. And that'll be the area that we can deliver the wow factor. That memorable experience that leaves other people talking about us in a positive, extremely positive way. So here's the challenge question. How well, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you know and understand your strengths?